Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is your Council Minute for the first week of May. This week, the City Council approved an exciting new mixed-use development at Bloomington Central Station. Some of you may not realize that Bloomington has a central station, but we do. It's the large, master-planned development surrounding a light rail transit station in the South Loop District near American Boulevard and 34th Avenue. A lot of folks probably still think of it as the former Control Data Campus. Today, it's anchored by Central Station Park and is home to the corporate headquarters of Health Partners, the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and 3 large residential developments with well over 1,000 units. On Monday, the City Council approved the 4th phase of residential development at Bloomington Central Station, creatively referred to as BCS 4. This new 6-story mixed-use building will be built on the west side of Central Station Park and will include 405 apartments, 9% of which will be affordable to families earning 60% of the area median income. Our vision for the South Loop District is to create a new neighborhood with places for people to live that are within walking distance to the LRT, to jobs, to the National Wildlife Refuge with its outstanding hiking trails, near the airport, and of course the Mall of America. It is a great place to live and work, and people are really taking notice. In the last 2 years, almost 1,900 new units have either opened their doors or have been approved in the South Loop District. It's the result of a lot of long-term, visionary work by the City of Bloomington and the Bloomington Port Authority. One thing we always hear from residents and businesses in the South Loop is the need for neighborhood services within walking distance, such as a grocery store. Well, we are very excited to report that BCS 4 will include a 15,000 square foot grocery store. It has been a challenge to attract a grocer to South Loop. Our staff has worked with 2 different developers and surveyed most of the available grocers twice in the past 5 years. Now, normally grocers like to move into an established neighborhood. They're not big on taking the risk of moving into an area where there is new development. But South Loop is not a standard neighborhood, and grocery market studies don't take into account the 4,000 South Loop hotel rooms, and they don't take into account the 100,000 people that come into the South Loop every day, many of them headed to the Mall of America. And to be fair, it's hard to predict how those workers, those visitors, and those hotel guests, how they'll shop at a small grocery store. One of the reasons the grocer is willing to come into the South Loop is that the Port Authority, working with the developer, created a system to manage the grocer's risk using TIF revenues generated from the project itself. With that system in place, the grocer is ready to move into the district. Now, no real estate deal is done until the ink is dry on the contracts and the soil is moving, but we feel confident that this deal will get done in 2021. If all goes as planned, construction will start in the fall of this year, and the first neighbors will move in during the spring of 2023. Over the past year, the Sustainability Commission and staff have been working on 2 energy disclosure programs, a time of sale energy disclosure and a project called Large Building Benchmarking. On Monday night, the Council approved the framework for both of these programs and directed staff to begin work toward implementing them. The first program, called Time of Sale Energy Disclosure, makes home energy performance transparent during the buying and selling process of a home. This is done by collecting information about a home's energy assets, and the energy assets in a home include the heating and the cooling system, the water heater, wall and attic insulation, and the windows. The info would be collected as part of the city's required time of sale inspection, and the data would be used to generate a report and a rating which will give home buyers a simple way to compare home energy performance from one home to the other. Now, the rating system is designed with Minnesota's existing housing stock in mind. It doesn't set pie-in-the-sky, unattainable kind of goals, so every home can reach a good score by doing some simple, cost-effective improvements. The report also provides a homeowner who's planning to sell with a prioritized list of next steps that includes the cost of improvements, it would show potential energy savings, and provide a list of utility rebates that are available. We expect to create a more informed market, to reward homeowners who have done energy improvements, to spur redevelopments and reinvestments in energy improvements, and to provide the information needed to achieve the city's climate goals. The second energy program is Large Building Benchmarking. Now, energy benchmarking is the ongoing review of a building's energy performance to ensure that a building is tuned up and is using natural gas and electricity efficiently. Just as gas mileage numbers help drivers understand how efficient their vehicle is, building benchmarking gives owners and occupants insight into their building's energy performance and helps identify ways to reduce cost and waste. The large building benchmarking program will require annual tracking of energy use for commercial, multifamily, and public buildings larger than 75,000 square feet. That's about 200 buildings in the city of Bloomington. It will also require publicly disclosing high-level benchmarking metrics. Both energy disclosure programs will begin on January 1st, 2022. And I want to thank the Sustainability Commission and our staff for continuing to bring forward programs and policies that are achievable, measurable, and make a difference. This week, the City Council approved a contract for construction management of Fire Station Number 4. The project is for a tear-down and rebuild of the fire station located at 4201 West 84th Street. It's the second of 5 fire station rebuilds that we have scheduled following the completion of Fire Station Number 3 at Old Shakopee Road and 86th Street on the east side. For the past 5 years, we've been carefully studying the condition of our city facilities and planning for their renovation or their replacement. For the fire stations, we have looked at a couple of issues. First, the buildings that were designed and built in the 1960s and the 1970s, they are undersized for the modern day equipment that fire departments use. We also did a fire service assessment in 2019 and 2020, and part of that assessment was looking at where our stations are geographically to make sure that we have the right level of coverage to protect the community. The study confirmed that the 6-station alignment and their locations is workable well into the future. But the study also looked at staffing issues. Bloomington is the largest volunteer department in the state of Minnesota. Folks, our firefighters are no longer volunteers. We have a staffing model that's called paid on-call and partial duty crews. The study identified future recruitment and retention of firefighters in this type of model as being a significant challenge. It's really inevitable that we will be moving toward a hybrid model of full-time and paid on-call firefighters in the future. And the fire stations we have today are not designed to house firefighters 24 hours a day. We've been carefully planning how we're going to phase these construction projects, and we're seeking every avenue to control costs to the taxpayers. We've worked with our legislators to get an exemption on sales taxes for the construction materials for the new fire station that will save about $250,000. That provision is in the current tax bill being considered by the legislature, and we're watching it closely as the legislative session wraps up this month. As we get to the other side of this pandemic, one of the things that I'm looking forward to is having our fire department host open houses again at the fire stations. We are very excited to welcome the community to see the newly completed Station Number 3 so that everyone can see what the Bloomington Fire Department of the future will look like. As we close this week, I want to thank the women and men of the Bloomington Police Department for the work they do to keep our city safe. On Monday night, I read a proclamation declaring May 9th through the 15th as National Police Week in Bloomington, and especially recognizing May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day. President Kennedy first recognized Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial Day in 1962, and each year on May 15th, flags are lowered to half-staff in remembrance of all the officers who have died in the line of duty. We'll be doing that here in Bloomington. Policing is an incredibly challenging profession. The events of the past several years in Minnesota and across the country have shown that protecting and serving the community means even more now. Good police departments have strong, personal relationships with the community they serve. Our officers have made relationship building a top priority here in Bloomington. It's great to see the work they're doing, and it's great to see the community groups across our city reciprocating those relationship building efforts. We are all grateful to have a police department that is a model of professionalism in the state of Minnesota. Thank you, Bloomington Police, for the work that you do. Well, that's a wrap on this week's Council Minute. Thank you much for joining us. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, stay safe, Bloomington.